That was some type of roller coaster interview that I witnessed between Miss Jaguar Wright and Orlando Wright. Hold on, Orlando Brown. See, they got me bugging. Let's try this again. Hi, I'm Glow Glow. And like I stated yesterday, I was going to watch this interview between Orlando Brown and Jaguar Wright on RealLyfe Productions. His channel is posted not only on the ticker, but also in the chat. As a matter of fact, if you want to check the actual interview out for it for yourself, I also posted the interview, the link to the interview on my community wall, and this one was a doozy. Um, it was a lot of banter. It was a lot of talk. It was a lot of outward conversation between Orlando and Jack, but it was a lot of it was a lot of translating that you had to do. It was a lot of read between the lines. It was very annoying at times because if you did not know anything about the industry, anything about the weird things that they do in Hollywood, and a lot of things that have came out um, years back. Well, it came out year it came out with the conspiracy theorists and the truth seekers about the behaviors of the industry, and especially when it comes to Hollywood and the music industry. Um, so a lot of jargon um, that they were speaking between each other. It's a lot of metaphors and symbolisms and stuff like that. So if you're if you're not if you don't know, you're not going to get the interview. Okay. um what I suggest is listening. Like, you have to look at this interview through totally different lenses. Like, you have to, like they state, you have to connect the dots for yourself. For various reasons, they were not they're not able to speak freely, and I feel that um, for them, they're not able to speak as freely as they want to, because they still bound to secrecy themselves. There's a lot of things that go on behind the scenes that they're not um, they're not able to talk about, and we're not able to understand because we just don't live in their world. So when you go back and look at this interview, right? I'm going to tell you what I'm going to tell you what I said last night. What, as a matter of fact, hold on. Daggone it. Oh, I forgot to upload it. I forgot to upload it. I forgot to upload it. Ooh, hold on. But we're gonna go ahead and jump into this interview. We're gonna jump into this commentary. Like David Bell said it best. Don't dismiss them as being crazy. You know, it's a lot of sick things that happen out there in their neck of the woods that they're just not able to talk about. And I also feel, since they're not able to outwardly express it, you know, sometimes we're left with the buffoonery and the coonery of it all. Mainly the buffoonery, and I'll explain during the course of this commentary what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna go ahead and get into it. Let me see. Let me see if I have anybody. Oh, dude. Oh my gosh, dude. When you get a chance, did you watch it? First of all, because that was crazy, but I kind of understood where I kind of understood, and I'm gonna try to break it down the best way I can without leaving people even more confused. Okay, I'm trying to tell you. Ooh, especially when or Orlando starts talking. But I check it out, bro. Check it out. I'm gonna get to the commentary because I took some notes, and when I took these notes, I knew how I put these notes on my paper, and I had to connect with that. I had to connect with that aspect of it. So, hold on, bro. Let me get started. So, hopefully, this does not cut me off what I'm about to do. Okay. Um, and do me a favor. In one of my um, last Let's Talk, and it was the previous season. I think it was episode 2. I was poking fun at no, it's actually last season when I briefly spoke on Puff and um, his contributions or whatever, because I was playing a bunch of his music. To get to the point, I was actually playing a recording of somebody that before Christopher Wallace took on the identity of the notorious B.I.G., they had actually had somebody lined up to fill that role before Christopher Wallace stepped into that role. And what's ironic to me, and you talking about connected the dots, and it's the same people, it's the same energy just being carried out in different people. It's ironic to me that um, when I played the remix of Black Rob's the extended remix of Black Rob's Whoa, um, Puff Daddy in that remix introduced it was introducing a rap artist that sounded exactly like Biggie. And to me, and in the conspiracy theorist world, when they done with you, they will find a replacement for you unless you just totally didn't work out and they kind of fizzle you out. And Jack has actually spoke on the fact that her image and her likeness has been used over time as well. So yeah, they have started the conversation out with that, which I agree. I agree to the fullest with that because I especially like I said, if you're not understanding, and I hope everybody, because I'm going in between, um, oh, tack on it. Ugh. Okay, let me repeat myself real quick, Spot'em. Okay, because I was going in and out between screens on my phone. I'm doing this on my phone, not my laptop. Okay, um, just a brief recap, and I can pretty much do it in a few minutes. They started. They started out. Basically, the interview has started with Orlando and Jag, giving each other their accolades, and acknowledging each other's accomplishments. And Orlando was making the statement of, "Oh my gosh," and I was reading it, that basically Tupac is Puffy and Puffy is Jay-Z. And basically, in their own little coded language, because you have to understand with Jag and Orlando, they're telling you what they're telling you, but a lot of it is coded. And if you don't understand the language, it's really confusing. But since I kind of understand what they was talking about, um, I can kind of break it down to what they were saying. Basically, it's the same energy that is passed down to different artists, whether um, whether you're singing or whether you're acting. It's the same. It's the same image that's being passed down to different person to different to a person to another person, and it's not a new thing. As a matter of fact, as you really listen to the interview and you can get past all the noise of what they're singing to each other, bantering to each other. Um, Jack's image has been copied, and so has Orlando. Um, Orlando is a childhood a childhood actor, and he started off very, very young. I didn't realize how young he started. And of course, Jack as being the roots, being on the roots, and even her image, her likeness, and her sound has been duplicated. So basically, it's basically the same energy that has been passed down from artist to artist, from actor to actor. As a matter of fact, they began singing to each other, um, and Orlando sounded kind of like Usher to me, and I've forgot who Jack. She was singing in her voice, but um, she was imitating somebody as well. And the commentator actually said down the line that they was actually imitating Peabo Bryson, and I forgot who the other female artist. I forgot the other female artist that was stated. So when you look at the video, that's who they were imitating. To me, it sounded like Orlando sounded like Usher to me, and that's just my opinion. Um, so, I wish y'all could have heard the original notes that I took, but sorry about that, folks. Let's move on. Okay, they Orlando and Jag began discussing how they're now targeting Whoopi and made references to the brown paper bag test and variations of that test, um, which is not a new it's not a new thing, especially among our community, that unfortunately are you are judged by your complexion, and it's no different in Hollywood. The darker you are, you serve a purpose to a certain extent, and only few propel on into stardom, where the rest are fighting for a TV show or a song or whatever. And I saw this happening to Whoopi a long time ago, because I felt that Barbara brought Whoopi in, and they did discuss this in depth in the interview. You know, Barbara brings Whoopi in, right? And I was happy. I was one of those that was happy for Whoopi as well, because I'm like, okay, one of ours is now at the table with one of Barbara Walters. When she stepped into the scene, she was the reporter of our reporters. She got the inside scoop. She got the inside tea. She brought it out to people. She was that girl. Barbara was starting to, it was her time to step down. So she was passing her torches out to people like Joan London, Oprah Winfrey, and Whoopi Goldberg was along beside her when they started The View. Now, I knew that it was only going to be a matter of time, especially after Barbara had left, that they wasn't going to allow Whoopi to rest on The View comfortable, especially when what was her name? John McCain's daughter, when she got on The View and wanted to dominate. And then you was also up, Whoopi was also up against, and I don't want to stay on this too long, and I want to get back to the notes, but not only was Whoopi going up against McCain's daughter, she was going up against Joy. She was going up against Joy, and then you had other minorities coming onto the show, and they was getting more shine. So, unfortunately, in the past, Whoopi and Oprah was called gatekeepers of sorts of our communities. They were allowed to speak. They were allowed to be visible. But as you're as you're seeing, their time is rapidly expiring. And it was a good catch for whatever reason that Jag brought this particular situation up. That is going on with Whoopi, and for me was going on with Whoopi for quite some time. Now it's coming to the surface. So she brought that up. Jack stated that people are not paying attention to one crab jumping from one barrel to the next. And she was basically referring to Jay-Z. And hopefully if my notes, okay, we're not there yet with 50 Cent, but, and I agree with this statement, because it's like we are brainwashed and programmed into recognizing one is shining, but we're not also recognizing that other people are shining as well. It's just for some reason or whatever work they put in, whether it was honest work or whether it was backings from whoever backs them, whatever branding backs them, they're propelled into the spotlight, and we're not noticing how, for example, Jay-Z started out as a rapper, then he became a businessman. He owned, during his journeys, he was an actor. He did this, that, and the third, right? And he's been jumping into a lot of barrels, and he's been stirring up a lot of crabs, right, to follow his movement. But then the problem is with Jay-Z, he leaves those crabs where he's at. He managed to crawl out of that particular barrel into another one. So good catch, Jag. If that makes sense to the public, what I just explained. Um, so again, when they're talking to each other. A lot of times it's coded, and you only hear a brief moments of clarity. But they're both they're saying things, but you have to catch what they're saying. Um, it's one of those interviews that's very tiresome and it's very draining. So you just got to keep your mind focused. And I took the best notes I could, trying to translate what they're saying and getting into what I was talking about, what they was stating earlier about transfers of energy and positions and stuff of that nature. Orlando referred him and Jag as the Jacksons, which I was like, that's a cute reference because, okay, if you think about the Jacksons, you think about Janet and you think about Michael. Michael's not here anymore. So now Janet is basically running the hymns. They just lost Tito. Jermaine was caught up in some stuff. Oh my gosh, the Jacksons, whoo, and they only went after Mike. Um, I don't think they're gonna touch Janet anytime soon. Kind of agree with Jag on that one, and Orlando. They're not touching Janet, and Janet has a lot of skeletons as well. Janet, you're my girl. You're my girl. I love Janet Jackson. I'm not a fan of Janet Jackson. There's a difference because I can see the hands that she played in a lot of things. And one thing I'm surprised that Orlando and Jaguar did not bring this up, that that a lot and I'm going to make this point and I'm going to jump to my next notes. And I'm surprised they didn't bring this up with the transference of energies, the transference of you have this person playing Tupac one day, but then give it time, you have the transfers onto Pop Smoke. I'm just saying. So like I said, I understood what Orlando was trying to say, but how he put it is so confusing. But getting back to my point, a lot of these people are related to each other in Hollywood and in the music industry, right? Janet Jackson, the Jacksons is related to Stevie Wonder. So yeah, connect the dots with that one. And I wish they had brought that up in the interview, but like I said, with all the buffoonery and stuff, whatever. Okay, my next notes. Camilla Harris as Farrakhan and John Legend on Botox. Oh my gosh. I felt in their translations, you have these people, and to us, Camilla's, right? But you're not seeing the deeper layers of what Camilla is actually representing. And with John Legend being, I forgot where they say that was the Botox, where he was given Botox. It was on his face or whatever. But now how John entered to the picture, like we know him as John Legend, but he's being transformed into something else as well. So you have Camilla coming as Camilla, but Camilla is coming in under a different agenda. And they threw Farrakhan. Like, you have to make the connection. I'm not going to sit up here and explain to you guys all night. I get it. Do your research to how you can get it. Unfortunately, they didn't make it easy for you with this interview. So they come out as one way, as one figure, and as one form and one appearance. Getting back to the Jacksons reference, where you have Michael, you have Janet, and when you think about the Jacksons, that's who you think about. You sometimes think about Jermaine, but you forget about the others that had to sacrifice and step down so they could be propelled. And they come off as one image, but deep down they're representing another image. And listen, I still love Mike and I still love Janet, but I also see them for who they really are. Still loving them though. Okay, next set of notes. Orlando talks about his dealings with Bow Wow. And that's interesting because Bow Wow, okay, so Orlando, you're saying you was linked to Bow Wow as well? Because Bow Wow was also linked to Omarion, but we're not going to get into all that. And yeah, and it really hasn't been disputed. And I agree with Orlando on that. When it comes to Bow Wow, if you notice with certain people that are being exposed and that are exposed, you don't get very much arguments about it. Why is that? Connect the dots. But what's so funny is when I didn't know this, that Orlando discussed, I guess Nick wanted him to be on Wild 'N Out, and he basically turned it down. Which I'm like, yeah, that's that. If y'all can't handle Orlando being Orlando, then you're not going to be able to handle Orlando being Orlando or Wild 'N Out. That show would be canceled and never brought back. Following some lawsuits, I predict. That's how it would go in my head. But uh, Orlando was saying in his own little way that first of all, he wouldn't go out. You wouldn't want him on Wild 'N Out. First of all, he would sit up there and make a bunch of gay jokes against Nick that pretty much not too many people are going to dispute. So Wild 'N Out wouldn't be ready for that. And plus, you would have to pay Orlando a bag at this point, even to be on Wild 'N Out. And I agree, because he does bring, in the middle of his lunacy and his bizarreness, he is trying to communicate. But he's not, we're both, and I said this last night, we're both Jag and Orlando. They are playing in the folks' faces, because you're not doing this for the benefit of the people to avoid going into Hollywood and the music industry. They're basically boasting themselves, and they're exposing their secrets because they were done foul and wrong. And we'll get into more of that a little later. Next set of notes. Yeah, they brought up 50, which, yeah, somebody needs to bring up 50, because how is 50 out here looking like the good guy? And we're not going to talk about the old rumors of you and Soulja Boy when Soulja Boy came out. We're not going to talk about young Buck. We're really not going to get into G Unit at this time, right? We're going to leave it as that. I understood when both Orlando and Jack started talking about 50 Cent. I was like, yeah, that's another example of a crab that was able to go from one barrel to another barrel and manage to pick up little followers along the way, but keep jumping from this, that, and the other. And now he's able to talk about Puffy and man, 50, sit down. I'm not even going to stay too much on you, because hey, Vomit, Law. And yes, everybody knows the behind the scenes, but we don't really know how they give it up behind the scenes. Like, it's crazy. And this is what's so frustrating about Jag and Orlando. You could have easily used your platform to give the real, but like I said before, they're sworn to secrecy as well. So as much as they so-called talking about exposing this one, exposing that one, and Jag, you was involved in a lot of things, and so was Orlando. And like I said last night, Jag is on this spree of this one should go down, this one down, this one. Jag, you should go down too, but you're a victim as well. Orlando, I feel you should go down as well, but keeping your mouth shut, but you're a victim as well. So is that catch 22 with both of them. So moving right along, and actually, I think this is where I'm going to leave it off at, because they go into a tangent that you have to understand on your own, because this is where we get into the last portions of who's a victim, who's not a victim, who are we going to make a victim today, who are we going to make a predator tomorrow, who are we going to feel sorry for and poor whatever, and who we going to nail at that cross. So ending this interview, and I'm going to leave it off with this because this is very interesting. That Real Life questions both Jag and Orlando on why neither of them did interviews with Vlad. First of all, you're a whole idiot and an asshole if you do an interview with Vlad. If you have not been keeping up with what's been going on with Mr. Vlad, first, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. There's so much I could say about Vlad. I'm not gonna do it. But this is what they said. Jack is not gonna sit with a federal agent. Um, Vlad is also wrapped up with either he's funding the child PO dash RN ring. He's in bed with the people that does such a thing. And like I said before, you're an asshole if you go on Vlad TV giving an interview. Because basically you should be calling your attorney afterwards and be like, listen, I'm going to have to plan our defense, okay? Because I went on Vlad. He's probably calling the FBI and the CIA by this point, because he's caught up in some nasty stuff, like the things that he be caught up with behind the scenes and off cameras with underage, and the people he rolls out with that does the same thing. And we still don't put two and two together that not only does he that, but he's a colonizer. He uses us to the utmost fullest for pennies on the dollar. Pennies on the dollar. Instead of asking this man to pay me $5, instead of asking him, pay me $5, he'd be like, I can only give you 75 cents. And just because that 5 minutes of fame that we think we're going to get with this man, it isn't even enough to have a retainer fee, to put money on a retainer fee for after you done spilled your guts on Vlad, and now you caught up on Fed charges. So, yeah, Jack. Yeah, because she brought up, you know, he funds people that are down with doing nasty things to kids. He's either in bed with them. He might be possibly doing it, allegedly, because Vlad ain't coming after me. Screw you. But to get the full extent on how she feels on Vlad, please go and watch this insane interview. Those are the notes I took on this roller coaster ride. And yeah, at the end of the interview, they RealLyfe Productions revealed when Orlando and Jack were singing to each other in the beginning of the live stream. They were actually imitating Orlando was imitating Peebo Bryson, and I forgot who Jack was imitating. So that's what I got. I hope it makes sense to you guys. Thank you for coming by. Please share this out. Please share this out. I'm not the only person that's going to sit on this lunacy, but you take it for what it's worth. And I did take a lot out of it because, like I said, they're not able to speak as freely as they would like to without consequences. And they both understand those consequences. So they had to put it how they put it. They don't get them off the hook because, like I stated last night, they relish in their insanity. It gets them noticed. It gets them those clicks and views. It gets them those interviews. It gets them those reality show deals that they can be bigger assholes on. Orlando. And sometimes when you think that is a good enough thing to get a gig and a bag off of, over time people are not going to want to listen to you because they have to decipher about what is real, what is reality, what is, okay, you crazy and you need medication, or you know exactly what you're doing and you want to propel that. Or another aspect to it, this is the only way you can communicate. You can communicate with the public, and the ones who are going to get it are going to get it. The ones who are going to connect the dots who are going to connect the dots. And the ones who are going to be dismissive, that's how they're going to be. So that's what I got out of this review. I hope you enjoy. Please like and subscribe. Share this out. I'm trying to get 50 subscribers. I want to give StreamYard a rest, but I need, where am I at? I'm at 17 subscribers. Come on, y'all. Come on. Give me the 50. And then I'm going to need you to double that. Okay? This is a new journey that I'm starting, and y'all come along. If y'all going to come along with me, you're going to like and you're going to share me out, and you can get other people to subscribe. Okay? That's all I got. I'm out. Laters. Thank you. Thank you, Spot'em. I'm out.